Before this video starts, if you enjoyed this video, there are many more like it already on the channel with many more like it to come in the future, so subscribe. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so I would really appreciate it. I upload 6 days a week on this channel, so if you're looking for some consistent basketball talk, this is the place for it. Also drop a like on this video, it only takes 1 second and it makes a massive difference. Today we are talking about the Charlotte Hornets, which means this video is going to get a maximum of 20,000 views, and what they should do with their number 3 overall pick in the 2020 NBA draft. They moved up a couple of spots in the lottery this year and are able to get the first good first round pick they've had in quite a while. And really, this one is more cut and dry than I think it is with anybody else based on what picks I think are going to be taken before them. So I am pretty confident that the first pick is going to be LaMelo to the Timberwolves, and then I'm also pretty confident that the second pick is going to be James Wiseman to the Golden State Warriors, which means that Anthony Edwards is going to be on the board. And if he is on the board, you're going to take him, like, no hesitation whatsoever. And I think this is an interesting spot for Edwards to land because it's probably the best spot for him to get the most shots. And it's also a spot that a team that really needs like a future star level player to bank on. In terms of the Hornets just in general, I don't know how many actual future star players are on this team. The only 2 players I see here that I think have all-star potential is Devante Graham and PJ Washington. PJ because I think he can be a more modern Paul Millsap, and Millsap was a multiple-time All-Star, at least a couple times, not like a crazy amount of times. And Devante Graham, he has the 2 most important things for a guard to have in 2020, which is really good vision and really good three-point shooting. His other areas of the game leave a lot to be desired, defensively as well as his ability to score inside the three-point line. His mid-range shot is not very good, and he's really bad at finishing at the basket, which is semi-understandable at 6'1", but it's going to be a problem for him. So those are the only 2 guys that I think have that level of potential. Anthony Edwards, I'm pretty confident will be an all-star level talent. I don't think he's ever going to touch like top 10 player in the league category, but I think he could maybe one day be like bordering on top 15. Probably not even that, but that's a lot better than what the Hornets currently have and probably will have down the line. So Anthony Edwards is certainly an exciting spot for him to land for the Hornets and for Anthony Edwards fans who want to see him get as much shots as possible, because I honestly don't see any reason why Edwards would not be the number 1 option day 1, because Devante Graham does not have a very versatile offensive game. Terry Rozier averages like 18 on pretty good efficiency, but it's not like he's taking a crazy amount of shots. Edwards could be taking like 15 shots a game as soon as he gets in the league. And you could argue if that's good or bad for him. I would say it's probably good. I doubt he's going to be very efficient his rookie year, especially because his three-point shot and shot selection in general can be a little bit questionable. But he's going to have free reign, and I think in general he's going to figure out what he should be doing and what he shouldn't be doing on the floor, which will be ugly sometimes, but it'll also be pretty damn good sometimes. And in general, I think it's going to be a positive for him. So if Anthony Edwards is still on the board, that's who you take. Now, there is a possibility that the Warriors take Anthony Edwards and then they plan on trading him. And maybe the Hornets could be the team that trades for him. However, if that's not the case, this likely means that James Wiseman is going to be who the Hornets select. And this is another interesting situation, really with the Hornets in general for any top prospect. James Wiseman is like the go-to guy in terms of, really in terms of any prospect. The Charlotte Hornets are the best spot for any of these prospects to fully showcase their ability to their maximum level, because the Timberwolves already have some established guys with Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, as well as even arguably Malik Beasley, who could be higher in the pecking order, and the Warriors obviously still have that championship foundation, whereas with the Charlotte Hornets, it's like, yeah, most players are allowed to have more shots than Devante Graham in the league, and especially guys who are top prospects. Not most guys in the league, but you know what I mean, most guys on that kind of level. So James Wiseman, if he was selected, it's interesting because they really are lacking in the center position, so I'm sure they would like to see James Wiseman. He is going to be a guy that can protect the rim pretty well, rebound the ball really well, and be a bit of a post scorer and pick and roll guy. And actually having a really solid pick and roll guy could be good for Devante Graham in terms of his development as a shooter inside the paint. Maybe get some more easier looks at mid-range pull-ups rather than just creating them all off of the dribble, because Charlotte's centers are kind of mediocre, to say the least. And he'd also be a good target for Graham as a pick-and-roll guy. Outside of those two guys, between Wiseman and Edwards, however, I seriously doubt they take anyone besides for one of those two, because I'm pretty confident LaMelo is going to go in the top 2. If LaMelo doesn't go top 2, you definitely draft him, because, I mean, regardless of your point guards, like Devante Graham and Terry Rozier are not good enough to pass up on LaMelo Ball. I don't really think there's anyone on this team that's good enough to pass up a certain position because of who you currently have. Like, I like PJ Washington, but he's not so good that you don't take a power forward if there was one on his level. However, I also don't really think there is a power forward on PJ's level, which brings me over to Obi Toppin, who I have seen people talk about specifically for this Hornets team quite a lot. Now, I would be very happy to see Edwards or LaMelo Ball fall to number 4. However, the Hornets should not let that happen. And James Wiseman, I'm pretty confident, is going to go to the Golden State Warriors, so that's not really a concern. So Obi Toppin is not someone that I'm very high on in terms of this draft. Now, granted, I should say, as I always say, I'm not great with draft prospects, so take what I have to say about these prospects in terms of my actual takes with a grain of salt. But Obi seems like a guy who needs a lot of his offense created for him. He's very athletic and has a pretty reliable three-point shot, but he's not a defensive player, and he played multiple years in college. He honestly seems like a more athletic Kyle Kuzma to me, and y'all know how I feel about Kyle Kuzma, so I would rather not see the Hornets take him, and I'd especially rather not see the Bulls take him. I'd be pretty mad if he was our selection at number 4. I've seen a lot of people saying that the Hornets should be taking Toppin, and I completely disagree, because I think PJ Washington is going to be able to do a lot of the things that Obi can do offensively while being a much better defensive player, and I think that alone makes you pretty confident in not taking Obi. And because they're top 3, they are going to land one of Edwards, LaMelo, or Wiseman. So I think I can say pretty confidently that you don't take Obi Toppin. The only reason he's really in the thumbnail outside of this discussion is just because there are so few photos of LaMelo Ball that actually fit for a jersey swap. Like, it's actually insane. All the photos of this guy, he's like mid-dribble or mid-doing something on the court. There's not a lot of standstill photos of him. So not a lot of easy Photoshop, so Obi Toppin was just easier to Photoshop. So there you go. And outside of that, I mean, there's also Denny Avija. I'll eventually learn how to pronounce that last name. He's interesting, but I really feel like if you're taking Denny, you're taking him for the sake of fit. And I don't think you do that with this team. Now, this team is pretty lacking in the small forward spot. I mean, Miles Bridges is pretty good, but I also think he's a 4, to be honest. And actually, I feel like the Hornets should be running small quite a bit, if it were up to me. Like, I think PJ at the center spot, Miles Bridges at the power forward spot, some small forward in there, and then your 2 guards or whoever you draft, maybe it's Edwards. I feel like that's a really good option for the Hornets. I don't think they should be running small all the time, because I don't know that they have the shot creation for that to be valid, because the reason you go small is to space out the floor for shot creators, and I don't think either Edwards or Graham are going to be that good this early to be running that kind of system, but maybe it's something you go to more down the line. And James Wiseman kind of eliminates that being a regular thing, and I do think he should be I do think that should be a regular thing for this team, so you do take that into consideration in terms of drafting Wiseman. But if Wiseman is the best guy available, then you take Wiseman and you just deal with that being only a sometimes thing. And I don't think that would be a huge hit, but I also think that'd be just a fun thing to see. I think Edwards is going to be the guy that ends up in Charlotte. Based on everything I've heard from draft people, it seems like the Timberwolves are going to be taking LaMelo Ball, and I'm pretty confident myself that the Warriors are going to take James Wiseman. Now, I don't believe they should take James Wiseman. I believe they should take Anthony Edwards and use him as a trade chip. But it seems like they're going to take Wiseman just for the sake of fit, which I don't agree with, but it is what they're going to do. And if that's the case, that means Anthony Edwards is going to be on the board for the Hornets, and that's a home run for them. And shout out to Hornets fans, because you're actually getting a real star-level prospect on your team outside of some that are not just maybe guys. He can be more than a maybe guy. And yeah, Anthony Edwards should be pretty good in Charlotte. Gets a lot of shots early. Has some floor spacing with Graham. Interesting to see what the Hornets would do with Terry Rozier after that. Maybe they push him to being a six man, which they kind of, the whole point of signing him was so that he wouldn't be a six man anymore. But yeah, I guess that's what you do with him. That is the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.